We have some basic graphs that we really need to memorize the shape of the graphs and be able to match the equation or function, we call it equation function, with the shape of graphs. Okay, so when we have a parabola, it's like a U. If we have to pick a letter from the alphabet to remember, it's going to be a U. And that would go for a quadratic function. You can see the first shape in there of the graph. Quadratic function. Can you say quadratic functions? Can you say quadratic? Okay, very good. Can you say parabola? Okay, so parabola is that shape, a U shape. Okay, and that is when we have the function with the x squared, like y equal x squared, or f of x, which replace the y, equal x squared. We could also have f of x equal x squared minus 2, or y equal x squared minus 5. It will still be a parabola, but the minus 5 or the plus 2 might move the graph either to the left, right, or up or down. And that is the exploration with the decimal graphing calculator that we wanted you to notice. Parabola open up if you have a positive x squared. Parabola open down like this if you have a negative x squared. Okay, so parabola would open down when you have a negative x squared. Parabola would open up when you have a positive x squared. You will see domain and range. The domain would be going and extend forever. Domain is the x-axis, and you can see the x-axis there. The parabola open up and extend and go on forever. With the arrow, we know that it keep going. So that's where we get the infinity on domain for the x. And then for the y, we only have the y starting on the bottom of the parabola right there, and it's starting at the origin 0, but it's keep going up forever because of the arrow on the parabola. So 0 going to infinity. The next graph that we want you guys to memorize with the shape is the cube. Okay, anytime you have a cube on the x, you're going to get that shape. If it's a negative cube, it's going this way. Positive cube, go this way. And then when you have a absolute value of x, absolute value of x will give you a V graph. Positive, absolute value, and a negative outside of the absolute value will give you a V going down like this. Linear function, a straight line, you will get y equal x or f of x equal x. X, when we have no exponent, would be an invisible 1 exponent. Okay, so anytime you see x with no exponent is an invisible 1, and x to the first power, or invisible 1 there, is going to give you a straight line. Going this way will be negative slope. Going this way, like this graph right here, is positive slope. Going here would be a 0 slope, and going this way, it's going to be undefined slope. When we have the square root of x, it's going like that. Okay, so that is going to go in the positive quadrant. Okay, and it's going like this for square root of x. Here's the cube root for the x. It's going like that. And I'm not going to ask you to memorize it. And the reciprocal of the x, we're not going to ask you to memorize it either. Just recognize it. That's the reciprocal. These are the basic graph shapes when you guys are going to Algebra 2 and higher math that you have to remember. At this time in this class, I want you to just remember 6 graphs. First 2 are linear equation. V graph, which is the absolute value. Remember, negative go this way, positive go this way. And then the square root of x go this way for positive, negative. It will also be curved underneath there. It's going to be reflect over the x-axis. Parabola will be when we have y equal x squared or y equal negative x squared going this way. And then the function when we have y equal x cubed go this way for positive, negative x cubed go this way. Exponential go really fast. We have just 6 type of graph. Linear, the first 2, absolute values, and then square root, squaring, cubing function, and exponential function graph. Do you remember the equation or function that match with these graph shapes? Okay. What I would like for you to notice here on the decimal graphing activity is the shape of the graph. Notice that we all have square on the x, so they are all going to be either a parabola open up or open down. And we will see how it moves. Then I highlight for you, look at the -8 without the variable. Where is that? That is this point right here. Do you guys see that? 0, -8. That's on the y-axis. We move a unit down. Next graph, +5 should be up 5 on the y-axis, right? So 0, 5. You see where the coordinate pop up? 0, 5. Okay, so that's where your parabola cross the y-axis. So we call this one y-intercept. Okay? Now, when we have a negative in front of the x squared, the graph go down, and look, the y-intercept is -1 now. So let's take a look. This is -1, 0, -1. I took off some of the graph, and we are going to continue with another negative graph, which is down right here. If you guys notice the function I highlight for you, if we graph it and we got the +4 to be the y-intercept, then it will be 4 unit up on the y-axis. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph that one and see how it looks. Do you see the parabola? It opened down because of the negative in front of the x squared, and it has a y-intercept of +4. So we move up 4 unit from 0 on the y-axis. And notice how each of the box here we got 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So each of the box most of the time stand for 1 unit, but in this case it stands for 2 units for each box. So be careful of the way that you count the box or the unit. Sometimes we can make it by 1, most of the time by 1, but sometimes we can count it by 2, by 4, or by 5, or by 10, right? Now, one more graph. This one is going up because of the positive in front of the x squared, and it crossed the y-axis at +1. So y-intercept is +1 on this green graph. And let's take off the blue so we don't get confused there. And even maybe the orange. Here is the 0, 1. If I put my mouse on that point, it tells me that's the point 1 right there. 0.1. I'm going to put in the vertex point, and the vertex point is called the minimum at the end when it's on the bottom of the parabola. And now this vertex is not very nice. It has decimal 2.5, -2.5, and -5.25. This is a maximum vertex at, again, 1.5 and 6.25. So the vertex is maximum because that's the highest point of the parabola. The y-axis or the y-intercept here is 0, 4. Guess the function or the equation would be something like y = x squared plus 4, and that would be the y-intercept. We're doing a few more graphs over here with the square root, and if you guys notice it, the square root will look like that. When we have the +1, which is we call it the y-intercept, right? We move just 1 unit up to graph it. And then if you look at the second one, the y-intercept will be 1 unit down. But now we also have the +2 within the square root of the x. So it will look slightly different. Okay, so it's going to still be -1, which is 1 down from the y-intercept, but we're moving it to the left 2. Okay, so the number is kind of contrary within this part of the square root with the x. When it's +2, we move to the left instead of to the right. However, the number for the y-intercept is pretty consistent with this number. We move down -1 instead of positive. Taking a guess with the next equation or function we have here, we have the square root of x minus 1. So I would say this one will move to the right. Okay, remember it's going to be contrary when it's under the square root with the x. So it's going to be the opposite of negative 1, which is left. Opposite is going to the right one, and then the y-intercept is going to be positive 3. So 3 up from 0, right, on the y-axis. So let's go ahead and graph that and see how it looks. There we go. We got the blue line, and it is on the blue line. We got 1 unit to the right and 3 unit up. Okay. Now we also have the negative. Guess what with the negative? It's going to go down here. There we go. Here's the negative, and the negative is like a reflection of that over the x-axis. It's going to the positive negative quadrant. The other one is positive positive quadrant. This one is going under, so it's going positive negative quadrant. And let's go ahead and complete our graph over here with the last one. We have negative, so the graph is going under. And we have negative 2 for the y-intercept, so it's going down 2. And I'll go ahead and take this one off so you don't get confused. Going down 2 from 0 on the y-axis. And that's where we get the y-intercept of negative 2 here. Y equal x, or y equal x to the first power is going to give you a line, but let's make it a cube and see what happened. You're going to use the caret sign that look like this on the key for number 6. So I put shift and number 6 to get that key, and that signify power or exponent, and it make my my number go right into the exponent cube, and I put it in right there. So here's a x cubed graph. Okay, it looked like that. And what if we have a negative x cubed, right? So let's go ahead and draw the negative x cubed in. Y equal, and I'm going to put x, and that would make a straight line, but we are going to make that key so that this is our graph when we have a negative x cubed. It's going this way. And remember the other one, it go this way, right? It's almost like an S, but not exactly an S. That's the blue line right there. And together we have the parabola open up and down when we have it together like that. So maybe we shouldn't have it together. Positive x cubed and negative x cubed. Finally, a little entertainment by Bongos on Don't Run Away and puzzle for you. Bongo is a Swahili word and the meaning of it is brain. You use it to find solutions to whatever life throws your way. If you're in a tough situation, don't give up, don't you complain. It's okay, you find a way, just use your brain. To me.